Attention whore mother-in-law tried to ruin my friend's wedding. I made sure to embarrass her and save the wedding. This story is about my friend's mother-in-law and her wedding. A good friend of mine from university was getting married. They had been a couple since junior year of college, through her 2 years in the Peace Corps and currently her return to this continent. 6 years in total. Moreover, she had been to all manner of family functions and always came back with a strange story about how she thinks her mother-in-law secretly hates her. She would always talk about how she loved her rustic style and low-profile life. But she, being a very quiet and sweet person, pushed those thoughts aside. My friend is vegetarian and Jewish, while her husband is not. She was invited and went to Christmas dinner and figured she would just eat sides. As well, she brought a vegetarian casserole. Her mother-in-law, after knowing her for 3 years, and being told by her son a few weeks before about not to forget friend doesn't eat meat. She proceeded to put meat in every dish. My friend drank water and ate her casserole the whole night while her mother-in-law cried to everyone that my friend was so rude for not eating her cooking. A few friends and I were asked to be in the wedding. My friend has a huge family and so this was not going to be a small affair. Neither of them is particularly religious, but friend said it would be nice to be married under a huppah. Even her husband said he could care less, and told her to go and rent one for the wedding. I was at the bridal shower when my friend's mother-in-law found out the pretty canopy was actually a huppah. She almost lost her shit in front of a bunch of people, but managed to compose herself and laugh angrily that if the Jews were being represented so with the Catholics. In my head I heard a record screech, guys. They aren't Catholic. So after much fighting, a lot of screaming, crying, threatening to pull money, which is funny because she contributed nothing, her mother-in-law lost. The boot was firmly placed, and nothing was moving it. Huppah yes, Catholic priest no. Things got stupid quiet. My friend texts me the night before the wedding that she has a bad feeling. I tell her it's probably just nerves, she is getting married and this is a big deal. Oh, how wrong I was. But I definitely don't regret what happened next. We all show up, get our hair and makeup done. Slip into our bridesmaid dresses and hang out waiting for the bride to be finished with her hair. She makes a comment saying she hadn't seen her mother-in-law all day and that she skipped her hair and makeup appointment. We all side-eyed each other, took a few sips of wine and hoped the eerie feeling would go away. 30 minutes later, as we are helping the bride into her dress, guess who shows up? If you guessed her mother-in-law, you win a cookie. Flushed from coming up the stairs, she is not a beluga of a woman, in full hair and makeup, and a white dress. Not ivory, not cream, full snow effing white. The dress was clearly a wedding dress, it was even from David's bridal, which she would later shout at me. Floor-length satin with a sweetheart beaded top, a bit of a train and off-white lace on the bottom. The dress was even tailored to her. This has been a long con she has orchestrated. The bride burst into tears and aunts and friends ushered her mother-in-law out. We did our best to console the bride, touched up her makeup, and I made her a promise that the dress would never be seen in a photo. She looked me dead in the eye and nodded. The game was on. I knew what I had to do, and I felt it as a part of my duty that I keep this terrible woman from ruining the wedding. Attention whore mother-in-law tried to ruin my friend's wedding. I made sure to embarrass her and save the wedding. My friend's mother-in-law, who for some reason hated my friend, and would always be passive-aggressive, decided to try and ruin her daughter-in-law's wedding. She did this by attending in an all-white wedding dress. I knew my friend hated this situation, but was too shy to do anything, so I grabbed my purse and ran down into the reception area and managed to flag an attendant by the bar and bribe him with a cool $20 to give me a bottle of red early. I cracked the baby open, filled a solo cup to the brim with it and stalked outside. After a few swigs from the bottle for courage, I went over to where everyone was getting ready to take photos. With one last hard stare at my friend, I got her nod of approval. I pulled out my phone, held it in front of my face like I was reading a text and walked straight into her mother-in-law. I poured the entire cup of red wine down the front of her dress, jumped back and gasped. The look on her face was murderous. She screamed, yelled, threatened, and promised she would sue me. People had to hold her back because she wanted to fight me. Eventually she switched from screaming to sobbing and sank to the ground and threw a tantrum on the floor. Everyone moved back and just let her go at it and walked away to go take photos. It was surreal, as if everyone just hit their limit and noped out from around her. The 12-year-old flower girl whipped out her phone and snapped a few photos much to our amusement. I will say that mother-in-law went home and changed, only 20 minutes from venue, into a nice dark green too small and low-cut dress. Because of this she missed all of the photos. The wedding was beautiful. I got death glares from everyone. She told that I attacked her with wine. No Fs were given as I drank and danced with friends. The bride thanked me in secret and 3 months later took me to the spa for a day of pampering. But I am officially that ISIS cunt to her mother-in-law. I am Middle Eastern ethnically, and I'll take it with pride.